Alright, so I wanted to run through really quickly all the possible questions, answer all the possible questions that people had about Pistoleer. I've been getting a lot of comments since the Korean patch notes showing the helicopter. These are not based on those patch notes, these decisions. It's just to help you create a Pistoleer that's currently meta. So that you can be in position to adapt to the changes. So there's two build paths that you can go. Currently, my build is Grudge, Pistoleer, First All, Adrenaline, Precise Dagger with a +1 Ether. You can kind of ignore this because this is just, you know, extreme. You've gotten everything together. This build is very cheap because Precise Dagger is a very, very cheap engraving. And you can throw it on any of the more expensive engravings. So like, for instance, this like First All 6, Precise Dagger 3 here. Like, very, very cheap. I built all of this extremely cheaply. So it's very easy to kind of build this out. But there's two paths that you can go, and the engravings are the same except for Cursed All. So you're either using Cursed All or you're using Raid Captain. And if you're using Raid Captain, you're changing out Plasma Bullet for Spiral Tracker. And so the Raid Captain build is a build that I ran for about a year, and it's a lot of fun. And if you want to build it, you run Swift Fingers, Quick Pace with a level 5 tripod. You have to have the level 5 tripod because it gives you maximum movement speed with this plus 500 swiftness. So if you do 500 swiftness and Quick Pace on Spiral Tracker, you can run Raid Captain. But you lose damage for doing that. But you gain a lot of fun things, like you're super fast, your cooldowns are shorter, which means it's more forgiving if you miss, and you're just constantly able to press Dextra Shot, so you can just zoom around everywhere you want, and it's a lot of fun. So for a beginner, I like this build, the Swiftness Raid Captain build, but for somebody that's trying to maximize their damage and not embarrass themselves with their static or you know, whatever it is, you're gonna want to go the build that I currently am. And so for that, skill is priority. Okay. So for that, we'll run through each thing. So your main stat is spec, your secondary stat is crit, and you're not doing any other stats. You're just trying to maximize your spec. And the reason you're doing that is because spec scales your handgun skill crit damage. Okay. And the reason why we go Precise Dagger, which gives you crit, and Adrenaline, which gives you crit, is because you want to be as close to 100% crit as you can, because all of your damage is scaled on the crit damage itself. So if you're not critting, you're doing literally no damage. So it's very, very, very important that you max out your crit. Let me just make sure my microphone is working right on this stream. Just 1 second. Last thing I want to do is get this going and my mic isn't working. Okay, it's good. So you're wanting your crit to be in the 90s if you can get it there. And your weakness exposure gives you 10%. You're doing hallucination, which gives you 18% with the 4 set plus 7% extra with the 6. So you'll gain that after you gain reality. And then you're getting 20% from precise dagger and 15% from adrenaline. So if you do secondary, you'll be in the mid 90s if you're close to 600. And that's how you kind of max out your stats. So in terms of skill, your first one is your mobility skill, which is dexterous shot. You're going to put 7 points in that, and you want the attack speed, which increases, which actually reduces or increases the speed that you get the ability off. And then you've got the move speed distance. And this one is a lot of fun when you get the level 5 tripod in it, because it goes extra 3 meters. When it's like really low, you notice the difference. Like if you play a gunslinger and you don't have this tripod, like because you won't use this tripod on a gunslinger, it feels bad. And then you run rage for the rune on that. Next is Plasma Bullet, and Plasma Bullet is actually the highest stagger ability in a Pistolier's kit. And so you're going to run heavy duty with that to get 2 of them, and quick shot, so it gets off faster, and then Plasma Split, which increases the amount of damage that it does. And for that, you're running Conviction. You're doing Plasma Bullet, Equilibrium for Conviction Judgment. So next is the Grenade, and Grenade is what you put your Synergy on, which is 10% crit. What's cool about Pistolier is your crit debuff is always on the boss. People love having a Pistolier in the party for the crit synergy. When they find that out, anyway. Most people don't even know what a Pistolier does, so that's a big plus there. And then you do Enhanced Grenade, which increases the damage, and Internal Ignition, which puts a kind of like a dot on it. And you put Bleed on there. And this grenade actually does a lot of DPS. Like over time, because it's very easy to hit, you can just like be going by the boss and toss it. You can chase a boss and you're tossing it. Mine hits for 3 to 4 million on the initial hit, and then it does a lot of damage with the dot. Equilibrium is your judgment, and it is a massive multi-hit ability. It's really cool. This is the ability that people get very excited about when they see the Pistolier, because it kind of shreds the boss. And then it also puts a burn on the boss for the amount of times you hit the boss, which is really, really fun. For that, you go attack speed, decimation shot, which increases the damage. It makes it more narrow, but it increases the damage, so you have to be kind of close for it. And then burn effect, which applies a dot to the boss, and it's awesome. So if you are doing Plasma Bullet, Grenade, and then Equilibrium, you're going to see a lot of little numbers, and they build up very fast. And it's pretty cool to see all of them together. Next is Quick Shot, which is your second highest damage ability. The number 1 damage ability is Meteor Stream. Quick Shot is your second highest damage ability. Currently mine hits for like 40 million if things are going good, sometimes 45 million. So for Quick Shot, you do Swift Fingers, Initiate Shot, and then Final Light. And what's funny is when I was first making the Pistolier, because I've been running the Pistolier since the game came out, is that I thought Quick Shot was a terrible ability before I got the 3rd tripod on it. And I was so confused why this was recommended on all the guides. And then once you get the 3rd tripod, it just like starts popping. Like, it literally pops and explodes, and it's awesome. It increases the cooldown, but as you can see, the damage increases 780%. So it's like completely ridiculous for a tripod. And for this, you do Gale Wind, the epic one. So yeah, Cruel Tracker is your third highest damage dealing ability in terms of like the burst. And for Cruel Tracker, you do Swift Fingers, Rapid Fire Enhancement, and Quick Draw. And then you run your fastest Gale Wind that you have, because this ability takes a little bit longer to get off, and you want it to get out quickly. Fun fact about Cruel Tracker is it's actually probably your third highest stagger ability. So in terms of stagger damage, you want to use Plasma Bullet, Meteor Stream, and then Cruel Tracker. So the 2 stacks of Plasma Bullet, Meteor Stream, and then Cruel Tracker, and you'll do a ton of stagger during a stagger check. Next is Meteor Stream, which is your highest damage ability. You want to prioritize this ability over all things. If it's off cooldown, you want to make sure that you use it. When you get a Judgment proc, you want to make sure you immediately use it so it comes off cooldown faster. You want to prioritize getting these tripods first, because it does the most damage. This hits currently for me in my current build, with like a support close to 60 million. Like it's 55 to 60 million. It hits really, really hard if things are going your way. And you want to put Purple Gale Wind in that. But in terms of tripods, it's Weak Point Detection for more damage, Piercing Explosion, again for more damage, and Meteor Fall for more damage. Some people sometimes run Bombardment support on Gunslingers, but it's not as good for Deadeye, and Meteor Fall is always going to do more damage, plus it has a little bit of attack speed on it, so it's faster to get off. And then the last ability is Enforced Execution. For that, you're going to put Quick Recharge into it, but for damage. However, this is a flexible rune spot. So in a lot of kits for different classes, you have a rune that's like flexible. And so you can put Purify here. You could put another Rage here, like a purple Rage. You could put the Shield if you're wanting, a little bit more tankiness. But I mainly use either Quick Recharge or Purify. And then you can, if you have Purify, you can cleanse yourself using this. This is your counter. And it's also, with Tenacity at level 7, gives you push immunity. And this is really powerful to have an ability that gives push immunity, because if you're on like Bolton, and you don't want to get knocked off because he's doing, whatever, you just cast this ability and it's a combo and you won't get knocked off. I use it for Brel, Gate 6 all the time. To save myself from bad positioning on, like, if she does the yellow knockback mechanic. And you can eat one of those yellows and not get knocked off if you use this ability. Same thing in, like, Brel Gate 4. You can prevent yourself from being knocked into the fire and knocked out of the arena by using this ability as well. So that's the main gist of the abilities. And in terms of gems, you want cooldown and damage on all the main damage dealers. So Cruel Tracker, Quick Shot, the Grenade, Meteor Stream, Equilibrium. And then the one flex that you have is on this Plasma Bullet spot. Is that if you want, I run a damage. So like I put, because I just want to max damage. You could put a cooldown reduction on Plasma Bullet. You could also put a cooldown reduction on Dexterous Shot, which will make up for the fact that you don't have Swiftness and will make you more mobile. So if you're wanting to be a little bit safer, you could put a cooldown reduction on Dexter Shot, and then what's nice about it is you'll also get more rage procs, which will increase your attack speed, so you're not losing a ton of damage. It's just not, you know, min-max damage by having the plasma bullet there. If you're running the Raid Captain build, so you have 500 swiftness, Raid Captain, and Spiral Tracker, you have to put cooldown reduction Spiral Tracker here to make sure that you're getting more Spiral Trackers off in order to proc your Raid Captain at its highest level. Everything else is the same if you're the Raid Captain build, except for this gem, and that's it. All right. So in terms of rotation, your main rotation that you're gonna do is all derived around conviction and judgment. So what's cool about Plasma Bullet is, let's say like a boss launches up into the air, like Monkey does all the time. You can throw 2 Plasma Bullets out, your grenade, and then Equilibrium, and then you'll get your Judgment proc. And as soon as you get your Judgment proc, you're doing Meteor Stream, Quick Shot, and then Cruel Tracker. Okay? So you want to make sure that you just start prioritizing those abilities in that order. The top row, I view this top row, so Dexter Shot, Plasma Bullet, Grenade, and Equilibrium, those are your setup skills. So you're using Dexter Shot to get into position, and you're using that to proc Rage, hopefully. Because if you proc Rage, you're going to get... your attack speed is going to increase. But what you want to do is, like, you're approaching the boss, you throw a Plasma Bullet, a grenade, get into position with Dexter Shot, and then you hit Equilibrium. And then the boss is going to turn inevitably, so you use Dexter Shot to, you know, reposition if the boss turns. And then as you can see, like, Dexter Shot comes off cooldown, so you can kind of quickly use it to reposition again. And you can also use Enforced Execution to change your spot if you need that, and then you save your spacebar for last for repositioning because it's too valuable to just waste all the time. So that's kind of how you do that positioning, and then you do your Plasma Bullet, Grenade, Equilibrium, Meteor Stream, Quick Shot, and then Cruel Tracker. And you do that over and over again. So again, reposition with Dexter Shot, Plasma Bullet, Grenade, Equilibrium, Meteor Stream, Quick Shot. And one thing you can also do is in between Quick Shot and Cruel Tracker, you could throw in another Plasma Bullet, another grenade. You can kind of base it on, you know, situationally. But you're always wanting to pair the grenade and Plasma Bullet together. Because those give you your main setup. So you get your conviction proc off, you get your weakness exposure, which gives you the 10% crit, and then you want your equilibrium to pop off after for judgment. And once you use judgment and it goes through, it has to wait another 30 seconds before you can use it again. And one thing you can also do is you can try to time your judgment with one of your ultimates to reduce your ultimate cooldown. So it'll go from 4 minutes to like 3 minutes and some odd seconds. And then you can get more ultimates off in a fight. Most of the time, like in most content currently, I'm only, like, unless it's like Brel hard mode, I'm only doing one ultimate in easier fights. But if you time a judgment on like Brel, you can get more ultimates off before the fight's over. And your ultimate as Pistoleer does a ton of damage. I guess I didn't mention that you use Clay Bombardment for right now. It looks like in the PTR on Korea, they're buffing the bursting flare damage by like 25%. So I'm curious to see if that does a lot more. So yeah, that's the main gist of it. 'cause you're pumping these abilities out as they come off cooldown, and then Plasma Bullet just lets you approach the boss differently. So Plasma Bullet, grenade, you're running around, you want to just always make sure you throw a grenade out. And then when you're using Meteor Stream, just know that it's not a back attack. So if you're positioned, you know, in front of the boss and Meteor Stream comes up, you can use it and then reposition for everything else behind the boss. And that gives you a little more flexibility and increases your damage uptime, because you can be anywhere with Meteor Stream. So that's it, and it's exactly the same rotation for if you're doing the Spiral Tracker build with Raid Captain. You're just subbing out Plasma Bullet for Spiral Tracker. And Spiral Tracker, you still do the Conviction on it. You just want to throw it out first because Spiral Tracker will increase your damage by activating the maximum Raid Captain. So you're using that along with the grenade to maximize the damage of your abilities. So you're going to want to make sure you throw Spiral Tracker out before you do your main damage spells. So it's more of like a weaving in and out kind of thing. Let me show that real quick so that way it's not confusing. Quick fingers, quick pace, and heavy duty. So you're gonna throw that out, and then throw it out again, and then Meteor Stream. So it's just Spiral Tracker, Grenade, Equilibrium, Spiral Tracker, Meteor Stream, Quick Shot, Cruel Tracker. Is kind of like the order if you're the Raid Captain build. And one of the things you'll end up doing for the Raid Captain build, if that's what you want to go, is you'll do like 350 spec, 500 swift, and then you'll put the rest in crit, which I think will be around like 255-ish or so. So your stats should kind of look something like this if you're doing the Raid Captain build. But you're gonna lose like upwards of 1,000,000 DPS if you do the Raid Captain build versus doing the build that I currently am. Like I think you would do like I did 6.8 million DPS with Raid Captain, and then now I do about 8 million DPS. So it's not the exact item level and everything, but it's still just to give you an idea. So yeah, that's I just wanted to do a quick stream showcasing some of this stuff so everybody was on the same page leading into the Korean PTR changes. When the changes come out, I'm planning on doing a very lengthy stream to sort of learn with you what the best options are to go, and then we'll kind of do it together, and that'll be fun, and hopefully people will also like share their ideas on what they've found out works best, and we'll also take a lot of notes from the Handgunner TV guy, which is the kind of main pistolier in Korea. So let me know if you have any additional questions. I think the only other one might be about Deathfire. Why don't I use Deathfire? Deathfire does more damage. The answer is that Deathfire does more damage in one rotation than either than the Spiral Tracker or the Plasma Bullet setup, but that's only one rotation. The reason why this build, either one of these builds, is better than running Deathfire is because you have this really long cooldown on Deathfire, it's harder to get Conviction off with Deathfire. And if you don't get Conviction and Judgment off, you're gonna lose the cooldown reduction on your 3 main abilities. And you really need to do that to maximize your uptime. Because your abilities don't hit as hard as other people's abilities. You need as much damage uptime as you can. You need to be relentless about it. And you need to also, you know, land those abilities. If you do it, then you'll get MVP screens. But you have to be really relentless. Derb Strunk said, hi, what about using Spiral Tracker just for movement speed? Comfiness without going RC Swift? I mean, you can do that, it's just not going to maximize the damage that you're doing. You could go Cursed All instead of Raid Captain and then just use that tripod for maximum movement speed, but you're not going to do more damage than Plasma Bullet. Plasma Bullet does a lot more damage than Spiral Tracker, and Plasma Bullet also does a ton of stagger. And the reason why I switched from Spiral Tracker to Plasma Bullet is because of the one, because of the damage, but two, because of stagger, because all of the current content has a lot of stagger checks. So like for instance in I'm actually gonna clip it, which is from last night, is you do the Shandy mech for Brel Gate 6. Like there's this spirit that comes up and she either wants you to counter her or stagger her. Well, you're in Force Execution doesn't do enough stagger to just do that and reliably either counter her or stagger her with just one ability, which is what a lot of classes do. But what you can do is you can actually throw Plasma Bullet out, which is slow, as soon as you see her. So you Plasma Bullet, and then you can do the counter, and that's enough stagger to take care of it. So it's just like one of those really specific things, but it helps a lot. Same thing with like Monkey, is there's tons of stagger checks. Brel Gate 1. There is one in Brel Gate 2. There's a stagger check. I think almost in every gate there's a stagger check. So, and what's kind of cool is the Pistoleer Engraving increases your stagger damage by 40%. So you are actually competing with some of the higher stagger classes by running Plasma Bullet. So if a stagger check comes up and you throw 2 Plasma Bullets out, and then a Meteor Stream, and a Cruel Tracker, and then Dexter Shot, and a Grenade, like, that's actually a ton of stagger that you're dishing out. So anyway, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to leave comments in the YouTube video of this, and I will try to answer any of them I can. If there's anything that requires more than just like a written explanation, I can do another stream like this and answer anything you guys want. But I just wanted to do a quick stream and share with you guys the latest on how to build this out for raids. If you want to learn Chaos Dungeon stuff, I can maybe do something on that later. But the main difference for that is just changing equilibrium so it does 360 and then putting Deathfire into the mix.